Alright everybody, hope you're doing well, had a good weekend and enjoying the videos I've been churning out lately. And if you've not, well, then I'm very sorry. Just wanted to talk today about something that comes up a lot in the comments section about, is reality a simulation? In fact, you see it everywhere, don't you? See it all online, on memes and everything, like, oh, what if we're just living in a giant simulation, like the Matrix or something equivalent. As if the universe is being simulated by some like magical computer outside of reality. And I was thinking about how this actually it isn't really possible, especially when you have like mystical awakened states of higher consciousness. At least I have. Obviously, don't take everything I say as fact, because this is just based on my personal experiences. You could possibly experience this yourself. You could experience something different. Every perspective is valid. I don't want to shoot anyone down for believing that reality is a simulation. But I was just thinking about it. Like, if you take a second to think about the theory of, if you wanted to simulate all of reality in a computer. It seems pretty reasonable at first, like, let's just keep building this bigger and bigger computer and fill it with even more complex equations and decimal points, and eventually, we'll get to this point where we can simulate an entire universe. But I thought maybe that's not possible, because we need a computer the size of all of reality, literally an infinite computer, in order to hold all of the elements that are being simulated within it. But then where would that computer be located? Could it be outside of reality? But I was thinking, that's not really, I don't think that's possible. And if it was inside of reality, that's surely not possible, because then some part of reality would have to be reserved for the location of the computer, which would be unsimulated, if you understand what I'm going. It's very like strange, loopy and paradoxical. Like, no matter how efficient that computer CPU, RAM or circuitry would be, it would need to be occupying some part of reality. So if you notice that, to simulate reality as a whole in its infinite nature, the simulation must also simulate itself ad infinitum. So by that logic, the simulation must be smaller than reality. It's reality itself. Jesus, I'm so bad at fucking slipping over my words, me. So yeah, that made me think about, what if the computer is infinite in a sense? Because like, it can't be a physical thing. It can't be like these little alien beings like on a computer putting in these equations like, I'm going to simulate the human reality. It seems more like consciousness itself is infinite and can literally like create reality on the fly. That's at least how it feels to me when I just exist in my sober state and from all these psychedelic experiences that I've had. It just feels like reality is just like instantly made on the fly through my consciousness, my field of vision and all my senses. Quite literally my mind, but not the brain, not the physical brain. I think something beyond that, because I've had experiences of like, say when you have a seriously deep ego death, I don't even feel like I have a brain. I just feel like I am consciousness itself. So yeah, let's think of like computer. Let's think of consciousness as like a magical infinite computer that it doesn't need a mechanism at all. It literally just is. And this is what you see in like, say, classic enlightenment stuff like Buddhism and just all these trip reports that I do as well. There's so many times it crops up that consciousness just is. It literally can just do it, and it's sort of like an addiction of the human mind to be able to, we need to pinpoint every single thing about reality that can be made, so everything's made out of atoms and then quarks and then fucking Planck lengths. And realistically, I feel like it will just go on forever and ever, because it feels like reality is absolutely groundless. Again, please don't think anything that I'm saying is biblical or whatever. This is just my direct experience that I've had from taking psychedelics and just my life experience. It could all be completely wrong, and hopefully eventually my attitude towards this evolves over time and I come to a deeper understanding. But yeah, a lot of the true reports I've read and my own experience, it's just literally reality just simply is itself, and that isness or ising is the magical computer, which is consciousness, which is the ability to create something on the fly. This reality is literally like this giant infinite thing floating inside this void. It's nothing, it's everything at the same time, and everything seems to point towards this, like throughout history and everything. The yin and yang symbol, the Ouroboros symbol, just feels like human evolution is pointing towards this, that say consciousness really is generating everything, that your mind is like completely interlinked with reality. That seems to make the most sense to me. You can get very lost down this path, I think, because there's so many different philosophies regarding this, but this is just what I believe and what I've experienced. So yeah, definitely, if you want, what's great about psychedelics is if you want to get deeper into this question, think about it. Say next time you're on psychedelics, set your intention and think, what is reality? How can it exist? Why does it exist? How is my consciousness tied in with reality? And the psychedelics will put you in a higher state and will allow you to probably dissect this this notion even further and hopefully come to a deeper understanding. That's definitely what I'd like to do next time I get access to psychedelics. I was also thinking about, reality of just being like the base, literally just reality itself is like, oh, how does anything exist? And like literally it's because it's infinite, and obviously if something infinite is literally just going to create itself, isn't it? Like, what's going to stop it? And that's literally it. It's like there's not going to be any mechanism outside of reality inhibiting it, because it literally just is. And that's why I don't think it is a simulation, because that would imply that there's something outside controlling it, and then you have to do that ad infinitum, like, oh, there's something controlling that, something controlling that. But obviously if reality is infinite, then it has absolutely no boundaries, so there's nothing stopping itself from literally just being, like literally just having my human experience now. It just can be. And this is sort of like the endless problem that science deals with, is it's constantly trying to explain every single part of reality, and it's actually missing the substrate of reality, which is just the isness. Like, it literally just is itself. Almost tries to over-explain it, even though the explanation of reality literally being infinite is way more profound than, like, say, oh, it's all quarks or brain chemistry or whatever. The fact that it literally is infinite is like the deepest thing in the world, if it is true. So yeah, although it seems impossible, you have to remember that reality, if it is infinite, it's like it is the ultimate tyrant, isn't it? It can do whatever the fuck it wants, because there's nothing outside of itself that's constricting it, which means it's not subject to the laws of physics or mathematics or even logic. That's just a thing in the human domain, the physical realm, if you know what I mean. Which means, almost the essence of reality is that it's magical, not mechanical. But not even metaphorically magical, but literally magic itself. Like, infinity is magic. Like, the fact I'm talking to this fucking microphone and talking to you wonderful people out there is actually insane, isn't it? Like, when you actually think about it. And sometimes science sort of, it tries too hard to demystify reality, but maybe if we combine science and mysticism together, so with the help of psychedelics, we could come to a deeper understanding. I notice a lot of rational people, they do struggle to understand this, because they think that admitting that the universe is infinite or magical conflicts with the physical sciences. But how could that conflict with it? Because literally infinity would create physical sciences. It would make, if you were going to make reality, you'd make it literally the most real thing ever. You'd make the dream feel as physical and real as possible. And that's why when I tap this wooden table, it feels like I'm actually doing something, because I can literally, infinity can imagine that. Even in your dreams, like, even if just in my mind's eye when I'm imagining stuff, like, it even feels real. Like, I can literally imagine, like, if you imagine, like, having sex with, like, a woman in your mind, like, it literally feels real. It gets you aroused, doesn't it? There's a realness to it, no matter whether it's physical or not. So I don't know if I'm rambling or if anyone gets what I'm on about, but yeah, I feel that's like why science struggles to really account for reality being mechanical, because I feel like the ultimate mechanism, quote unquote, of reality is just instantaneously being itself, or just absolute infinity. You don't even need symbols or equations or models or simulations, because no matter how detailed your scientific understanding will be, it'll never be absolute infinity, the most complex, deepest thing ever. And yeah, you can use science to obviously explain little aspects of reality in fragments, but to fully grasp the whole thing, I feel like you need to go beyond science. You need to go into the mystical states and psychedelic states, or sober meditation, deeply enhancing the ability of your mind and breaking down the barriers that your mind constrains itself with. Yeah, so sort of like science is akin to a computer simulation. It needs that space within reality to run, so it will always remain a subset of reality. Yeah. Thinking of it from a logical perspective, actually, That just makes sense a lot to me. But again, you've all got your own perspectives, and I love hearing about it. So please talk about it in the comments. I literally think I've got some of the greatest comment sections of all time, because I honestly love reading them. There's some amazing dialogue that goes on in there. So yeah, I was just thinking, yep, the perfect simulation or model of all of reality is just, it's simply the same thing as reality itself. It literally is itself. It's Ouroboros eating itself, the snake eating its own tail. Yeah, I feel like models like science are only very partial to understanding reality when it's just so obviously infinitely complex. So yeah, that was my little ramble for the day. Hope you took away something from this, and if not, then we'll have to come back to it next time. Alright guys, see you later.